I do think that as we go through, and George is probably going to be in a title fight, how is he going to behave?
It's true though,
Yeah.
because he is the driver's representative for the Drivers Association. And
Yeah.
how are you able to stay objective when you're in a title fight?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mania Onboard, the F1 podcast. I'm Maya.
And I'm Manon.
You may know us as Mania Onboard, shockingly, from TikTok and Instagram.
But this is our first time finally making a podcast. We're really hesitant about starting a podcast, but then I realized that we've been watching F1 for 5 seasons, yapping in our living room. So I thought, why not film and record it so that people can yap with us?
Absolutely.
So today was an exciting day. First race of the 2026 season, Melbourne, Australia, Albert Park. Who doesn't love this one? And also the first race of the new regulations, which everyone seems to love.
There's definitely mixed emotions, I think, about
Mixed
the new
reviews.
regulations. Yeah, definitely.
Even from the drivers.
Yeah, that's actually true. I found this race exciting, considering it was 4 a.m. It
Yeah.
kept us awake.
The start
Mostly.
was really exciting. I will say I was more into the first half than the second half. Like, it sort of settled into its old ways of less overtakes. You can sort of like predict who's going to win. But the start with like the never ending overtake from George and Charles on each other was really exciting.
Absolutely.
It really woke me up.
Yes, it did wake me up. What did you think of the very, very start of the race, getting off the grid?
So, I guess as always, when I watch a start, I look at the front. But watching back, it was really interesting and surprising to see that half the cars really didn't have the battery they needed for the launch, which is exciting because it shakes things up, right? Like, we lost a Mercedes straight away. The Ferrari overtook from the
He
start.
came back, the Mercedes.
We lost him and he came back. However, it proved to be dangerous. If you look at Liam Lawson, how he almost got taken out by an Alpine because it was pretty much a stall on the grid.
Yeah, which there was questions about that. In testing, Oscar Piastri said having all of the cars going down, but he was talking about how it might be dangerous because they're going too quickly, but he didn't really talk about what if some of them stall.
Yeah, whenever some of them can't start, and we've seen it in the past, like notably in the first Jeddah F2 race many moons ago when Porsche and Fittipaldi ended up in a really bad crash because one of them stalled. So you don't want to see that in F1 where, you know, the cars are quicker, dare I say they're hungrier. So luckily nothing bad happens. But when they showed that replay in the cool-down room of Franco Colapinto almost taking out Liam Lawson, and kudos to his reflexes, amazing dive.
Amazing.
But yeah, that was scary to see.
It was very scary. And sadly, Franco Colapinto also got a stop and go penalty. And it wasn't for his start, actually.
Okay.
It was because the mechanics were working on his car too late. So it was just his mechanics' fault. It's really annoying. Yeah, they didn't get off of the grid quickly enough, which is very dangerous. And that should be a penalty. But
That's a rookie mistake, but also not too unusual for a first race of new regulations.
yeah, but
I guess.
I mean, the rules haven't changed.
No, I know, but my first thought was, how could the Alpine mechanic make such a rookie mistake?
Yeah, that's true.
But then again, you'd rather get that penalty and be able to collect data by finishing the race, which he did in the end, than be one of the many DNFs we got.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk about the Mercedes first.
The Mercedes, 1-2.
They really struggled to get off the line, both of them, which was interesting. But once they did, they were very, very fast. I
Yeah.
do fear that if they had got off the line, they would have run off into the sunset.
Yeah, maybe, but they didn't. So, you know, we'll never know. But to be fair, Mercedes have had that, how can I put this? Like a ghost advantage for months where the rumors were all saying Mercedes got it right, they're building a rocket ship. So I'm not surprised. People were talking about Mercedes sandbagging, and I thought, I haven't seen it. For, you know, if Mercedes hadn't come with a good car, I would have been surprised, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So hopefully the other teams will catch up because we don't want a 2023 version of Mercedes domination.
Yeah.
But because they weren't the team dominating in the past few years, it is exciting.
Yeah.
It is exciting to see George Russell win a race. It's exciting to see Kimi Antonelli, you know, maintaining second in his second season. So yeah, I'm really excited for them. And
It was great to see
bring it
that
on.
Kimi could make his way back up, even though he lost positions at the start. So
Yeah.
that was good. I hope the other teams can. I hope Ferrari, because I think Ferrari's pace is as good. They struggle with strategy, which we will get onto later. Finally, in this little segment at the beginning,
Okay.
we're going to talk about Max Verstappen.
Ah,
We're not going to talk
do,
about
do.
qualifying yet. because that was a stressful moment for everyone.
This is a disclaimer for anyone listening or watching who doesn't normally follow us. We are Max Verstappen fans. We are also, I hope we are able to be unbiased and objective, but we are Max Verstappen fans. So if a bias sometimes appears, I apologize in advance.
I don't apologize in advance. I think it's important to have favourites in sport.
It is important to have favorites, but I want to be able to have conversations with fans of any drivers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And stay reasonable.
Yes. So do you think that Max's drive was that impressive?
No, actually. And not only because he said himself, like, obviously he had the better car than everyone in the midfield, because Isack Hadjar, on his first race in the team, qualified P3. So we knew that Max's qualifying was a fluke and that he had a really good car.
Yeah.
So if he hadn't managed to overtake the field so quickly, that would have been a problem. So I see it more as, than, oh my God, what a race. Like, it's not in his top 10 drive.
No, absolutely not. And it does look impressive because he made up so many positions, but there's such a spread of the field that, and I do think that the Red Bull is in a similar place to the McLaren. No matter how many times Lando Norris says that the Red Bull is faster than the McLaren, I think they're about similar. I think we saw that in today's race, although Max did blame it on the tyres.
Max Verstappen did get fastest lap. I know it doesn't matter anymore, fastest lap, but he did. So I guess on pace, over one lap, he was fastest.
Yeah, and Red Bull simulation showed that he would have been about 0.3 slower than the Mercedes if he'd done his quali laps. So that's pretty quick. All right, we are moving on to some controversies.
Ooh,
there wasn't
already?
actually that many controversies, to be fair,
Okay.
in this race. I would like us to talk about whether the new regulations are bad for the sport,
Oh my God.
because that's the biggest controversy.
Okay, I think I'm going to go all philosophical on you.
Okay.
But it's like, what is the sport? What makes Formula One as a sport, right? Because I think this is like the base of everyone's debate. And wherever you fall in this debate, people come at you in a, oh, you don't really like racing. You don't really like Formula One. But we all have a different definition of what we enjoy about racing and Formula One. So ultimately, if you look at Formula One as man in a box that has 4 wheels, a steering wheel, a clutch, that's what Max said, a brake, an accelerator, and whoever's the fastest, whoever's the bravest, whoever breaks the latest wins. Yeah, we're stepping away from that.
Yeah.
If you're looking at Formula One as the pinnacle of motorsport, the pinnacle of that technology, the progress, like Formula One is the basic for what is implemented in everyday cars, in planes, maybe trains, I don't know, like boats, like wheelchairs, like it is, everything starts with Formula One. We saw it during COVID, like that Formula One helped so much with the engineers. They have the best of the best. So I'm not surprised, because sustainability is the future of the planet, of the world. So of course F1 is going to help with that.
Yeah.
So it really depends which one you think to you is F1.
Yeah. It's difficult because there's been so many changes that you've had the engine and the aero, and actually it seems like the consensus is that the new aero is amazing. Everyone seems to say the smaller cars and everything is really, really good, but everyone's saying that the engine regulations aren't so good. But I would just argue that they're so different to what we've seen before, and kind of so different to what exists generally. Like there's no model of, maybe there's 50-50 hybrid like road cars, but I mean you've driven an electric car and the charging is difficult. So
it does feel like a different sport if you look at F1 versus Formula E. Like it's sort of like a hybrid version that falls in the middle. And we know that a lot of old school Formula One fans, they don't like Formula E. We like Formula E. So for us, it's exciting because I think we like the gamification aspect of the management. And I think F1 has been, leaning towards this for a while. It's not just an overnight change. Like if you look at the steering wheel from the previous regulation, they have about like 30 different buttons. They can change mode during the race. Like if you're on the onboard, it's like, oh, it's Stella Purple 12 and whatever that means. It's not just about what you do with your feet and what you do with it's not just about the drivers. It's always been about the technology of it. So yeah, I hear both sides. Would you be able to summarize the new regulations in 1 minute?
yeah, I can have a go.
Explain it to me like I know Formula One,
Okay.
but I haven't looked into the new regulations.
Okay. So we have got brand new cars. We have got brand new aerodynamics. So the shell of the car is different. So the cars are smaller and lighter. We have got new engine regulations. So instead of having a combustion engine with a battery that helps it, we've got the combustion engine and the battery, and you need both of them for the car to work. basically. And in terms of overtaking modes, that's the other thing that's really different. There is straight mode, which is where the car goes along the straight, and it's like DRS, but at the front and the back. The drivers are allowed to use straight mode all the time when they're on the straight. There's no 1 second limit. And then there is the overtake button, which is literally the overtake button where they deploy the battery, basically. And that you aren't allowed to, that's like DRS in terms of you have to press it only when you're behind a car within 1 second. So that's the difference. We've got I think those are the main 3 things that have changed from last year. I think there'll be some changes for sure. They can't stick to their original idea.
It happens a lot anyway in the beginning of a new regulation window that the FIA realized that wasn't a good idea and that will have to change. And I also think that's why Max Verstappen is so vocal. So he wants things changed.
Yeah, he does. He doesn't like electricity.
Have you been to his flat? It's all candlelight.
It's candlelight and like a gas burner in the corner. We are moving on to a couple of moments during the race weekend which summed up the whole weekend. So the first one is random crashes.
Oh, yes.
We had 2 pretty dramatic exits during the race weekend. We had Max Verstappen during qualifying, during corner 1 of qualifying. And then we had Oscar Piastri during the
the warm-up lap.
Yeah, the warm-up lap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Max crashed out in qualifying because of a software issue, which is worrying.
Technology.
But at least it's an easy fix, to be honest.
And it's good that they knew straight away what it was. It's just scary that a software issue can, cause a crash that could injure a driver.
Yeah.
Like, especially in this case, we were all worried that he'd injured his wrist or his hands. So if it was down to a computer error, that's worrying.
Yeah, it is worrying that the brakes are helped by software. I feel like that's something that needs to be looked into in the regulations, especially because Oscar's issue was not the same, but it was still a software problem because it was still to do with him having too much power when he shouldn't have.
Yeah, it does feel like a car has a mind of its own. It is giving AI inside the cars, which as a driver, I wouldn't feel too confident if I wasn't the only brain steering my car.
Yeah, I think there is potentially too much automation happening.
Yeah.
Especially because it's not just the brakes, it's also when straight mode is activated, that's automatic.
Yeah.
And there was some comments from Max again about how sometimes when you're overtaking, you don't actually want both the front and the back to be open.
Yeah.
Because you want to have more control over, and you can't do that. I can also understand that could also push the balance off and be dangerous.
Yeah, and also where does it end? Because, when I drive my little automatic cars and the minute my car gets on the white line, it automatically turns back. And it's scary as a driver.
Yeah.
What if they introduce that in F1 so that the drivers don't ever get track limits violation? It's like, no,
that's true.
You know what I mean? It could get there. Like, where do you draw the line with automation?
Yeah.
So I'm on Max's side here. I do not like it.
No, I think they need to regulate the automation. And I think that will mean there's more driver talent involved while still keeping the engine regs similar. I don't know how battery deployment works with that though, so there might be something that it just doesn't work. I don't know. And something else that was really cool this weekend was the George Charles battle.
Yes. Love that.
Yeah.
And Lewis George battle.
Yeah, that's true.
They didn't overtake each other as often as Charles and George, but Lewis was leading the race at some point.
Yeah, and that's something that we're going to see a lot, I think, this season. The yo-yo overtaking.
Yeah.
Because...
Maybe not with Ferrari, but yeah.
Yeah.
Might be Red Bull, Mercedes.
Yeah, it could be anyone. It could be anyone. But yeah, and it happened up and down the grid. To be fair, it wasn't just them, but it happens so often with them that because they're deploying the battery, and then the battery runs out, and then they swap back. I like that because I think the driver needs to think strategically about when they overtake. It's kind of like when we used to have 2 DRS zones, one after the other, with one DRS detection point.
Yeah, in Miami, it was a pain for the drivers.
Absolutely.
Great for us.
Yeah, so it's just a new way of learning, and I think that's really cool. And the drivers who can figure it out will be able to overtake, and the others won't.
But yeah, we had some really cool battles. We had George and Charles at the front. We had Pierre and Esteban in the middle.
Yes.
Who doesn't like watching the French fight?
Yeah.
And then we had my favorite, which was a bit messy. We had Liam Lawson and Sergio Perez back at it, fighting each other for P15? I'm not sure, but it was entertaining because those two will not let the other go through.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think actually it was interesting. The only Red Bull driver that out of the 4 of them that didn't have engine issues was Arvid Lindblad this weekend.
Oh, Arvid. Can we have an entire section on Arvid Lindblad this weekend? He was incredible. I was almost disappointed that he got out qualified by his teammate at the last second during qualifying, because I thought, look, he's been the best of the two the entire weekend. And, nothing bad to say about Liam Lawson, but kudos to have it because it's his first race ever in Formula One.
Yeah.
He's the only rookie. Last year there was 6 of them, so it was sort of easy to overlook one's mistake in favor of another one being amazing. But it was sort of all fresh eyes on Arvid Lindblad this weekend. And he went into Q3, qualified P9, good enough.
Yeah.
But he was P3 at some point at the start
it
of
was
the race.
amazing. He really managed to make the energy work really well in a way that the other drivers didn't.
And his battle with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton.
Arvid, what are you doing there?
People will say Racing Bulls is the sister team. He shouldn't have had Max. He should have let him through, obviously. But no, he wanted to show what he was made of. And I really enjoyed that. I really like his mindset. I like his attitude. I like his talent.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what he does.
Absolutely. And I think he has an advantage of not having driven the previous generation of cars and having...
It's got a fresh approach.
Yeah. And I think we do need to remember that Red Bull have just built their own engine for the first time ever. And so they had reliability issues this weekend. Let's be real. Liam had a problem off the line. Isaac's engine stopped.
Yeah.
Max had a problem that
Isaac
probably could have been solved.
Price.
Yeah. So we need to be patient because that's a new engine.
If it wasn't for Max's software issue in qualifying, we would have had all 4 Red Bulls in Q3.
Yeah.
Which didn't used to happen. So, well done Ford, well done Red Bull Powertrains. I don't think anyone expected them.
No.
Well,
there was rumours that they were going to be like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people expected the Red Bull Powertrain to be what Honda and Aston Martin are doing right now, which is a big shame.
Yeah. The next segment is called radio translation.
Ooh.
I've picked a radio. Apparently Manon has picked a radio.
Do I translate it in French?
No.
Oh, shame.
So I picked the radio where George Russell and Charles Leclerc were fighting, and George said, "This is really scary, especially after what we said in the driver's briefing."
What did I say in the driver's
I think they're all a bit scared of these cars.
Fair enough.
I think it was very telling that George brought up that he wasn't expecting to be battled like that in this race. And it all did feel very chaotic at the start, like more chaotic than usual. It felt a bit F2-ish in terms of me being on edge, like someone's going to crash.
So many of them on one line.
Yeah. I think it's telling that they'd obviously had a conversation where they were like, we're going to do clean racing, we're going to be careful of each other. And obviously once they got to the track, nobody listened. Well, actually it was fairly clean, to be fair. But I think it's George wants to maintain that control, and I do think that as we go through and George is probably going to be in a title fight, how is he going to behave?
No, it's true though, because he is the driver's representative for the drivers association, and how are you able to stay objective when you're in a title fight?
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be
going to be really interesting.
But I do feel, obviously I'm only speculating because I don't know what was discussed in the briefing, but it does feel like they had some sort of gentleman rule.
Yeah.
Like, it's the first race, let's be careful, let's be respectful. And Charles just went, nope, I want that win.
Did you have a radio?
I had 2 radios, actually. The first one is one that was podcasted, and I really enjoyed it. It's the moment where Ferrari was finally deciding to pit, and something was asked of Lewis, and he immediately said, I don't even know if he was prompted. He went to the radio and said, my tires are okay, do not pick me with him.
Yeah.
And I just love that. It's a man who's been through traumatic experiences in the past, and he said, guys, before you make any bad call, my tires are fine. And they did give him 3 more laps, I think. And so I appreciate that they listened.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton is the extra strategist.
It's just
Ferrari.
On top of having to strategize, he also has to think ahead of the mistakes that his team could do.
That's true.
This man is working overtime.
Yeah.
And my second one was when Max and Arvid both pitted at the same time, with Arvid ahead of Max.
Okay, I didn't hear what he said.
Well, I can't say it because he swore, but Max said that brake checked the entire pit lane. And I was on Max's onboard. I saw it. It was quite scary. I really thought Max was going to rear-end him. I don't know what Arvid was doing.
I think maybe Max was going too fast.
Yeah, or maybe Arvid was going too fast and realized he needed to slow down. Something was happening. Max was getting irritated because I think he wanted to overtake him at the pit stop. He didn't manage. So, but it made me laugh that, you think the Red Bull teams are sisters, but when it comes to racing, he didn't even name him by name.
Yeah.
He was just swearing.
Yeah.
And I thought that was amusing.
Yeah, it's funny. The next segment, the comedy club.
Ooh,
Okay.
the F1 Comedy Club, not the Red Bull Comedy Club.
The general F1 comedy club.
Okay.
You've mentioned one of these, but I thought there were two funny scenarios / moments of this race. The first one being the Checo Liam fight.
Yeah.
And I think it's hilarious that Checo has been gone for a whole year. And the first I'm sure it wasn't Liam's first rodeo, but the first one we paid attention to was this effing idiot.
It's just, I don't know if Liam has learned, like, if Checo has the yellow sticker, like, to sort of tear him from Bottas apart. But Liam knew who he was dealing with.
Yeah, he did. It's funny that it's back. And I
so
look
back,
forward
baby.
to it. And the second point is just Aston Martin. They were their own comedy club this weekend. It was pretty shocking, actually.
They did what they said they would. They used that race as, data collecting. They did everything by the rules. We thought they were retiring Alonso. They actually said retire the car.
Yeah.
Alonso went in the pit by himself. And then he went back out.
Yeah.
And honestly, I thought that was a glitch on the
It's
time
like
tower.
+11.
And also because someone DNF'd after him. So he wasn't even last.
Yeah.
He was last after a DNF'd car, which is why I thought, oh, that has to be a glitch.
Yeah.
Like, it happens sometime.
Yeah.
But no, he did a Checo Perez, remember, in 2023 when he went back to take the penalty. He just went out, and I don't know, a lot of people have been joking online that by that point, Lance Stroll had already been lapped several times. And so you have the front runner that lapped one Aston Martin, thinking there was only one.
Yeah.
And suddenly there were two. But you know what? They did it respectfully. I'm sure they collected lots of data.
Yeah.
They didn't get into anyone's way.
Yeah.
Ultimately, both cars had to retire.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was expected.
Yeah, it is a big shame what's happened to them. And yeah, there's a lot of people saying, oh, Newey didn't start until 3 months after they started developing the car. But I think ultimately the problem is the engine.
Yeah.
Which has
not
nothing to do with
Adrian
Adrian Newey.
Exactly.
And I also think that I think there's an over reliance on Adrian Newey being there when there's a whole team of engineers. There's thousands of people there. And
All great people.
yeah, and the aero seems fine, It's the engine that's a problem, and God, Red Bull really did dodge a bullet, but it's worrying, really.
I mean, there is also like the delay aspect, the fact that Honda were going to leave the sport,
Yeah.
then they decided to come back. So I think they did start
They were
with a delay
delayed,
compared
yeah.
to the others. And Adrian Newey is amazing at what he does, but he's also the team principal
Yeah.
now. So obviously his attention has to be divided,
Yeah.
which doesn't help either. If you ask Alonso to be, strategist on top of, which he sometimes is, on top of, being the driver, he would maybe be less good of a driver because his mind is
maybe
all over
that's
the
something
place.
that we'll talk about throughout the season, whether putting an engineer into a team principal, although we have heard from I don't know if they're junior strategists, but junior aerodynamicists at Aston Martin that Adrian Newey is a good manager. So
That's good to know.
yeah.
That makes me very happy.
Yeah. Do you have any other funny moments from the weekend? You watched some fan forums.
I did watch the VCARB RB fan forum where Liam and Arvid were asked to decorate 2 pavlovas, the very creamy cake.
Pavlovas, yeah.
And then they were asked to go into the audience and pie a fan. And they both did it.
With a real pavlova.
With the pavlova and full of whipped cream.
In the morning as well.
Yeah, and you can see in Liam went first, and he was really like not shy, but he was really unsure, and he asked the fan who was decked in VCARB merch with like a Liam Lawson face, and he was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And the fan was so excited, and he got pied Love Island style, and the fan was really happy, and Liam felt so bad. Arvid though. He pied that man, like he enjoyed himself. But yeah, as someone who's been to very hot Grand Prix, the idea of being covered in
Oh my
cream
God, I'm just thinking
from
like,
the morning. Oh God.
And maybe Albert Park has better toilets, but
But because the idea is so fun. Like, who can say I've been pied by an F1 driver?
Yeah.
It's just me thinking, I've been there. I know. Like, I'm imagining, like, Singapore.
Yeah, I
which
think
is,
it would
like,
be
so
okay.
wet and hot and being covered in pie.
Yeah, disgusting.
I hope they were staying in a nearby campsite.
Yeah, or at least, like at Silverstone, they have, like, actual toilet blocks.
Yeah.
You'd be okay there. Just
Yeah.
if you need to get pied, do it at Silverstone, not in
And
Singapore.
then Liam went over the front row and everyone, like, had a piece of the pie.
Oh, lovely.
I don't know. It doesn't surprise me from Australia. I feel like it's the vibe,
Yeah.
like barbecue on the beach.
Oh my God, yeah.
Just
when we were
sharing
in
a
Australia,
pavlova at the fan
when we were in
forum.
Singapore, and all of the Aussies were drunk before like midday.
Yeah.
The racing hadn't started, and the Australians were all drunk. We were like, oh, okay.
We're close to Australia.
We are about to become Armchair team principals, but we don't know which team yet. We are going to use a random generator to pick a team, and you're going to give some advice what you would do with the team for the next race, which is a sprint weekend in China. Okay. So you're going to go first.
Okay.
I'll spin the wheel. You've got Red Bull.
I was almost hoping to get Audi because we haven't even talked about another driver who did not start, Nico Hülkenberg.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what happened to him?
His engine didn't start. It's not that deep. He couldn't start the car in time to get on the grid, and then he couldn't start in time to start the race. It wasn't.
Jonathan Wheatley, what are you doing? Fine. Red Bull, my advice, keep doing whatever you're doing. I actually had a thought about Isack and Max in the room with their team. And the team is able to look at them both and say, we have a really strong pairing this year because Isack carried qualifying for the team and Max did an amazing job. And looking at that, I'm glad that this was that scenario, that like they both had bad luck.
Yes, I agree.
Obviously, Max Verstappen being amazing is not a surprise, but I'm really glad that Isack didn't get all the bad luck because nothing bad that happened was their fault.
Yeah.
And they both showed their skills.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy. So if I was the team principal, I would be very happy with the engine and I would be very happy with my driver. I would be very confident. So now let's catch up to Mercedes.
Yeah.
Let's go, guys.
Amazing. Let's go.
Oh, I should have said that with a French accent. Oh, let's go, guys. Let's catch up to Mercedes. You're doing a great job.
Stunning.
See?
Amazing.
If you close your eyes. Uncanny.
Would you improve anything?
I would look into what went wrong with Isaac's car.
Yeah.
And I would ask Max if he can give feedback that is realistic. Not, I hate driving these cars. Just what can we do to make the car better? Which I'm sure he's giving his
I'm
team.
sure he's not like that. When it's in like an engineering debrief.
No, and I think it's very important for the world champions to be the ones that are outspoken.
Yeah.
Because Dominichelli has already come out and criticized Max and Lewis for criticizing the new regulations when it's like, no, let the driver speak.
Yeah, absolutely. My team is going to be... We didn't plan this.
Oh, no.
It's VCARB.
Okay. What would you tell?
Oh, gosh, what would
Your
I
team?
tell VCARB? So Liam Lawson obviously had some sort of issue with his energy deployment. I don't know what happened, but we need to figure out what happened to him. Because he had issues at the start, then he had issues throughout the race. He couldn't get going. He really struggled to overtake. So he obviously had energy issues. Whereas Lindblad, he did lack pace a bit because he really fell back, even though he managed to, go back. So I would tell Lindblad to hold back at the start a bit because I think maybe he over deployed at the beginning. But I think, they seem really strong, actually. They didn't have like major reliability issues. And the car seems to be working really well.
No, you also have to be realistic with the pace. Like, he was in P3 by accident, but it made sense that he got overtaken by a Red Bull McLaren. If anything, I think he should have kept Oli Behrman behind.
Yeah.
That's what was expected of like him based on where the car was after qualifying.
Yeah.
There was a really good analysis of the start actually by Alex Brundle on F1 TV this morning, which shows how Lewis really got ahead of Arvid at the start, and then very quickly Arvid managed to deploy his energy to get back. And they eventually even had a little touch that, luckily didn't ruin anyone's race, but it was really interesting.
Yeah. I would like to hear one hot take from this race.
I'll have a thing. Go ahead.
Okay. So my hot take is that Ferrari could have won this race if they had a strategy.
Can you back that up?
I haven't done the maths, but I think that their pace was similar to the Mercedes, and them not pitting either drivers during the first VSC was a silly risk. And they should have split the strategy from there. It's typical Ferrari that they didn't, but I think not doing that was silly because they didn't maximize their chances of at least taking Kimi or something.
I think the real mistake was the second VSC. I actually watched Bernie Collins talk about it on the Sky post-race show, where she said, so Charles was ahead, and between the VSC being deployed and Charles driving past the pit lane entry, there was 19 seconds, I think, which is not a lot, but still.
It's enough.
That's their job. They should have said, Charles, the minute the VSC is deployed, you pit.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't enough for Charles, Lewis was behind. I think sometimes you have to take a risk.
Yeah.
And also that's the point of having two cars, one behind the other. Yeah. You can split strategy if you have to, because ultimately, they got one on the podium. Yeah, but third and fourth, 1 and 4 would have been better. Just take a risk.
Yeah.
Maybe Charles would have been unhappy because he was the car ahead, but ultimately, it's a team game.
Yeah.
I'm sure Charles would have been relieved that they made a good strategy
ultimately,
decision.
it's race one. It's not the end of the world if
Yeah.
accidentally the driver behind gets prioritized.
Yeah, no, of course.
Prioritized.
It's
Ferrari,
especially
so.
because they are aware that the Mercedes is faster.
Yeah.
So when a car is faster, you have to beat them on strategy.
Yeah.
Which is what Red Bull did in Qatar last year, where McLaren lost because of a bad strategy call. But it was one. I don't think if it had happened again, McLaren wouldn't have made that mistake
No, they
again.
wouldn't.
So it's a bit disappointing that they had two chances and didn't really.
It's typical,
fix
really,
it.
but
It is typical, and I think it's a shame because nobody expected Ferrari to be that good, but they still, leave the race looking like, oh, Ferrari, how about a strategy? It's like, ugh. Yeah, but they've built a good car, so let's give them that.
It's the fact that after two VSCs, they still said we're on plan A. It's like nobody's on plan A anymore, guys.
Yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
not.
So what's your hot take?
My hot take is the streets are saying that Mercedes, who provide the engine for McLaren, Alpine, and Williams, only gave them the final engine for Australia, but tested that engine themselves in Bahrain. So had a weekend ahead. And some people have been discussing whether it's while legal, if there is a bit of an issue with that it would hide the full potential of their engine to their customer team. Because if you have customer teams, they should have,
Their customers.
the same element as you. Well, especially if you compete against your customer, which I always thought was a bit of a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
If this is true, Mercedes got to test with the final engine and those other teams didn't, and they've lost 1 week. We've asked our followers to tell us what they thought about the race or if they had any questions.
Yeah.
So the first comment was, I missed the graphics. They used to be better. It was better to understand what the drivers do and what options they have. One thing I will say about the graphics, I don't think they've changed that much, but they have removed the hundreds and thousands in the interval and leader graphics. Now, if a driver is 1 second behind another driver, you only have 0.9, 0.8, and it's true that you lose that. It used to look a bit like a countdown. You could see the gap come and go, and especially if it's a midfield battle that is not on screen, it was your only way of knowing what was going on.
Yeah.
I think they've tried to simplify it, but it's...
I understand why they've done it, because I think if you're not familiar with, maths, it must be difficult. No, but, I think if you're not good at numbers...
That's how you learn,
Yeah, that's how you learn.
Why does the entry to the pit lane close at some point? I think they're referring to where Valtteri Bottas was being taken out. His vehicle was retrieved. At first, the pit lane was open. That's when Max and Arvid got to pit. And then they closed it when everyone suddenly realized that Ferrari had missed the window.
Okay.
So why is it that they closed the pit lane?
I don't know.
I think it's probably because they needed it to retrieve Valtteri's car.
Yeah, it's probably a safety thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that they suddenly decide, oh, nobody else can pit now.
It's not something that happens automatically. It has to do with the position of the car that just DNF'd.
Yeah.
What happened to Gasly at the start? I actually don't think it was Gasly. I think during the replay of Liam's bad start, Crofty says, was it Pierre Gasly? But it wasn't. It was Franco Colapinto. Yeah. And someone actually says, I think Franco shut down all the haters with his Tokyo drift,
it was stunning.
Avoiding. And it was amazing. If you have a chance, go and rewatch it. Max couldn't overtake Lando. Was it due to hard tires?
Possibly. That's what Max was blaming it on in the press conference. He said there was lots of graining.
Yeah.
But I also think their pace is probably quite similar.
The first half was okay. Second half was so boring. Yeah, everyone agreed.
I think that it really was a race of two halves. I know I shouldn't compare it to Formula E, but I'm going to do that. I think that because it was a two-stop, we saw the field really spread out. Whereas in Formula E, you only ever have one stop, and that's it. That never really happens. But I think we will see more wheel-to-wheel racing as we go, as the drivers get used to it.
Yeah, I am very looking forward to China. It's a sprint. I'm looking forward to see what they can do with 1 hour of practice.
Yes, it's going to be mad. And also, I'm so excited to see those cars in a sprint. I can't wait. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be so close.
I hope they won't be too on the preserving side of things, because, we know what an accident can do.
Yeah.
Speaking of, big kudos to Mercedes for fixing Kimi's car after FP3 to get him into qualifying, because... half the car was missing.
It looked really bad.
Well done, Mercedes. They get my gold star of the weekend.
Gold star to Mercedes.
Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.